welcome back to Helsingborg, Sweden for the IPF 2019 Classic World Powerlifting Championships, and we're just about to get the action underway. I'm joined in the box by none other than Ryan Six-Pack Lapadap, and we are really getting ready. It is going to heat up today with the 47s. What's your prognosis, Ryan?
Well, Heather Connor from the U.S., 2017 world champion in Minsk, Belarus, set the 47 kilo class on fire, had everybody abuzz, missed 2018, dealing with some health issues, and is launching a big comeback. So all eyes are on the 47 kilo class to see what Heather brings. She's been training very hard, and apparently we might see some world records fall in a historic day.
Well, you know, she's going to have a work cut out for it today as well. I mean, this is a stacked field, 47 kilo class. I mean, those top five really, you know, top four lifters, it is pretty much stacked. It could be anyone's game here. I mean, obviously Heather, you know, looking to see what she can bring back to the platform as well. But, you know, in the squats, you got the Canadian there. He's got a very solid squat and probably looking to try and podium there. You know, Irish lifter, you know, certainly looking to podium. And I think bench as well. She's got a very solid bench. So, you know, Heather's going to have a work cut out for her today. She's really going to have to follow that plan and really stick to it and not get caught up in the moment.
There is absolutely no gimmies at the IPF world level.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you don't follow your plan, if you're not looking behind you while you're looking in front of you, someone's going to sneak up behind.
And we've seen that.
And it's happened all too many times. But, of course, you know, right at the moment, the most important thing, getting those opening squats on the board. It's the first session of the day. It's in the morning. This is probably the most nervous session for any lifter, really. I mean, the bonus is these guys have got a little bit more experience under their belt, but there's some young lifters in here that are quite new to competing as well. You know, our first lifter from Japan, Aya Fukamura, you know, only 2 years competition, and here she is at the Worlds.
Yeah, it's sort of a baptism by fire.
Absolutely. So here she is, opening at 87.5 kilograms for the first lift of the morning. And I think this is the toughest lift for anyone, being the first lifter of the morning in the flight.
Yeah, absolutely. Can impact your sleep, and depending on time zones, really shake you up. And because it's the 47 kilo class, some of these young ladies had to cut weight, so you really got to get up early.
Well, we've got 87.5. She's got a PB of 100, so that's a pretty conservative opening lift.
Yeah, and I think it's good logic. Don't gamble. Get in on the board, and then you can start making some moves. And that's exactly how I'd like an opener.
That's a good opening squat right there. That'll get rid of the nerves. Anna Klish from Russia now, 90 kilograms.
You can see the depth here. Absolutely no question. And with your first squat, if you set the tone with the judges, there's no question, no reason to scrutinize my squats.
Yeah, I mean, if you come out in your first squat, it's high. You know, they're looking that little bit closer on the next one. They know, oh, this squat is a high squat. I'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, if you set that benchmark, 90 kilograms, just 10 kilograms under her personal best. So it wasn't super deep.
I think it was right on the line. It should be passing. Yep.
Yeah, she gets one red, but 2 to 1. That's a good lift.
That's exactly it. And sometimes they say if you don't get at least one red, you're going too deep.
Only you say that. Right?
By they, I mean
only you say that.
By they, I mean me.
Janine Martin from Ireland, 97.5. And this is a young girl to be keeping your eye on. You know, only been competing a couple of years. I was having a chat to head coach Jay earlier and said she's got a pretty solid bench on her.
Yeah, these competitors who are 2 years in the game, the progress is so quick. If you're doing any scouting, looking at their previous numbers, they usually go right past those.
Yep, chest up, power through.
Look at that.
That looks like a nice opening squat.
So her previous best, 5 kilo ahead, almost assured to blow past that today.
Paulina Simano from Poland now, 105. They'll be hoping to get this one on the board. They've had a bit of a rough last couple of days, the Polish team. There's a few lifters missing important lifts. Well,
Oh.
she's bringing the intensity to the platform early.
It is. So you see all different types of approaches in terms of setup, but also approaches to the bar. Some lifters like to maintain the intensity because it is a long day, and others, you know what, help get the nerves out, scream, get in there.
Yeah, everyone has their own approach.
Szukaj klata do góry. Kciuk dociśnięty, klata w górę. Cofnij brodę. Klata w górę, klata, dawaj. Klata w górę, dociśnij paluchy. Dawaj, dupę, dupę,
It's
And
a tough opener.
the trend continues. For some reason, the Polish team has really been opening heavy and having tougher openers than we would like.
And
We've
that's
seen
a-
in
and
other
that's a- I
sessions.
mean, that's a tough opener. You don't want your opener moving like that. Doesn't build your confidence for the next lift at all.
You almost had predicted once you saw
Yeah,
Poland.
and doesn't really give you any room to move either. I mean, so Tatiana Koroleva from Russia now, 105.
17 years in the game. Don't expect her to be overcome by the moment.
Yeah, plenty of experience.
The Russians talking about a powerhouse in powerlifting. Almost synonymous.
Absolutely, and you know what? And for a moment, we look at these weights. You think, okay, 100 kilos. Most guys are probably sitting at home thinking it's not that much. Their opening squats are more than double body weight.
Yeah. Oh, this is definitely next level athlete. You got to keep it in relative terms. And remember, this is a 47 kilo lifter. To open at double body weight and shift the weight the way these young ladies can
Absolutely
shift
huge.
it.
Stephanie Ensel from Malaysia, 107.5.
Depending on what we see today, Heather Connor can squat, we're talking several times body weight, deadlift 4 times body weight. It's just incredible what some of these ladies can do.
Yeah, the power to weight ratios are absolutely phenomenal.
And when they walk around, they're narrowly up to your chest in height, but extremely strong. So 1 year lifting and opening 2.5 kilos shy of her personal best, and that's where the progress can be so quick once you start competing.
Yeah, she's got a personal best of 105. So we're about to see how far she's progressed.
Whoa, that's deep.
Depth is out of this world.
You know, maybe a little. I know some people like the bounce in the bottom, but if you get heavy, you might not be coming back up. What do you think?
She was as deep as you
Whoa.
can imagine.
I think her butt touched her ankles.
But,
That's depth.
it also depends on mobility and flexibility as well. For some people to get that stretch shortening cycle, that's how far down they've got to go. I mean, if you do lots and lots of stretching, what happens is you increase your range of motion and the stretch shortening cycles further and further down. Hannah Antala from Finland, 112.5. Weighed in at 46.85.
8-year veteran, and I remember seeing her in other worlds.
So she's squatting well past double body weight.
Slow and controlled. And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want to read too much into bar speed because some people like a controlled descent and ascent.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was smooth all the way through. It never really looked in doubt.
And you did see, and you're going to like this, Gary, knees stay over the feet, elbows down, chest up. All the technical aspects were in place.
Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines. Looking for 117.5.
$5 kilo below her previous personal best. A decade in the game behind her.
Yeah, plenty of experience on the platform. She's going to need that today.
Knees
All
come
those
in.
knees dropping in, and you can just see how hard that makes it for her when those knees come in like that. And didn't get depth.
Here's another problem with the knees. Not only is it harder to recruit force, but when the knees come in, it's easier for the hips to be higher than the knee, and it's depth becomes an
very,
issue.
very difficult to get down there. Simone Lay from Canada, 125. She's definitely one to keep your eye on in the squats.
Yeah, she's a very strong squatter. Seen her lifting at the Canadian Nationals.
I was having a chat to the coach earlier, and he said squats is what they're here to try and get on the podium with squats. Obviously trying to get some numbers on the board for everything else, but she's got a strong squat. And you can see that head dip up there. You can see about halfway up, she throws her head up and the speed increases.
Yeah, refusing to let herself get pitched forward. Another shot at that squat depth, there's no
And
question.
head comes up.
Yeah. And
Heather Connor, 127.5. She's going to bring the fire to the platform.
And if you think this is intense, it only ramps up until we get to the thirds.
Well, I was talking to her this morning. She was very calm, very casual about it. Told me her pet cat and dog, Butters and Pancakes, are probably at home watching.
Butters and pancakes.
Butters and Pancakes.
Don't tease me. I'm getting hungry.
Those hips just popping up a little bit. Probably not her tidiest squat ever. And just didn't quite get down deep enough.
Take a look at this replay. And also sometimes you notice lifters one hip's higher than the other, and that's common. This is the lower side that got white lighted. So that looked a little like the hip went below the knee, but on the other side was the red. And that's actually pretty common.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the front ref there picking that up, and the side ref. Naomi Alibert from France, 127.5. Well, I imagine Butters and Pancake are on the phone to Heather right now saying, come on, sink it deep.
Nicely done.
Quite a narrow stance. Doesn't really open up the hips too much.
And the elbows down, chest up, very tight torso. And when you have a narrow stance like that, you better be up and down if you're going to hit depth and maintain your stability.
We've got all but 2 lifters on the board with their openers.
Neither one of them failing on strength.
Certainly strength wasn't an issue. Anna Klish from Russia, 95 kilograms. So we come around for the second round.
Both lifters that missed the openers on depth are going to retake those weights. And it somewhat sets you back because you have a tough decision for your third attempt. Do you take the planned third or do you take the planned second?
Yeah, look, you know, in the heavier weight classes, it's a bit of an easier decision. She's had to put in the work for that one. Don't know how deep she was there. Not deep enough. Yeah, I mean, in the heavier weight classes, it's a bit of an easier decision. In your weight class to 47, you know, if you're taking your planned third, if you're taking your planned third after missing your first and hitting again for your second, that's a really big proportional jump. I mean, in some cases, you might be looking at 20% body weight, and it's a huge, huge jump for this weight class.
And then, of course, the third attempts, because the heaviest, are always the most risky proposition, 50-50. So if you miss it, you're moving forward with just your opening weight towards your total, whereas if you take your planned second, usually the likelihood of hitting it is much higher to the 85 percentile or higher. So it's more of a guaranteed kilos in the total.
Aya Fukumura from Japan now, 95 for her second.
Oh, the depth will be on the line.
She's probably right on the line, I think. Yeah, not deep enough.
Take a look at the replay here.
Just cuts it a little shy. You can see she was a bit tentative. Cuts it high.
Just on the line. You don't need a whole lot of adjustment to make it, but stitch lower, and it looks like
Janine Martin, 102.5.
4 missed lifts, but all of them on depth.
Head coach Big J Ferrant in her corner. So 102.5. This is right on her personal best. Depth looks good from this angle.
Yeah.
And that was a smooth second squat there.
And I would say,
Yeah.
you know, she might have another 5 kilo in the tank.
Yeah, that's a good squat, that one.
It slowed, but it was never in doubt. No technical breakdowns either.
Yeah, I'd be pushing to the 5 kilo. I think it's in there. It's going to be a little bit of a push, but yeah, I think it's there.
It's the risk reward management where if you don't risk a little, you start falling behind. You got to push yourself without teetering over. And all types are fired up.
Paulina Szymanal from Poland, 110. Now, her opener was tough.
24 years old. This is her first year in the Open, 2 years in the game, and that's where when you're young and youthful and just enter the Open, you do want to manage the excitement levels because it's a long day, 9 lifts.
Dawaj kolanem od razu, dawaj kolano, sztanga w plecy, dawaj.
Depth looks good from my angle.
And just a little bit too heavy. I mean, that is the problem. When you open heavy, you've just got no room to move. I mean, and your predicted total is pretty much where your ending total is.
And here's that on top of she's grinding, yelling, using a lot of energy, and Vane doesn't get it. If she comes out again, lets out a lot more energy. By the time we get to deads, whatever she thought she was walking in with now is a grinder as well.
Yeah, that's right. And you got to remember, I mean, this is different than the heavier weight classes. The energy management is 10 times more important in the under 47s. I mean, you got these women weighing in at 45, 46 kilos. It's not like they've got massive energy reserves laying around. I mean, if you're a 120 plus lifter, you've got some energy reserves lying around. Even if you're a 93, you've got some energy reserves. If you're an under 47 woman, there's not a whole lot of energy reserve there.
And the like you had touched on earlier, the amount of weight they're shifting in proportion to their body is just staggering.
It's huge. So Stephanie Ensol from Malaysia now.
Stark contrast to our previous lifter, very calm, cool, collected.
Yeah, she gets depth without any problems.
Whoa!
But you can see the use of that stretch shortening cycle there. I mean, the power that she gets out of the bottom is absolutely phenomenal. She hits the bottom there.
She's limping off the platform, though. I hope there wasn't. I absolutely agree. She gets a lot of momentum and carries
lots
it.
of power.
See that limp off the platform. Not encouraging, but she's got 2 on.
Yeah, we'll have a look. We'll keep an eye on that. Tatiana Korodeva from Russia, 112.5. Still shy of her personal best. Lots of experience.
Yeah. And both of those, when you've been in the game 17 years, your progress might not be as quick.
And just a little too much there. She certainly gave it everything she had. But, you know, these girls pushing hard on their seconds.
You just hope, again, just totally emptying it all for that. There's a sticking point she just couldn't get out of.
You know, and I mean, here's the big difference too with the heavier weight classes. You know, we're talking they're moving well over double body weight. You're adding 5 kilos. I mean, that's a large percentage of your body weight.
Yeah, yeah. The increments never change. That always has to be in 2.5 kilo increments, regardless if you're a 47 kilo lifter or if you're an 84 kilo lifter.
You've got to think of proportions. Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines. So she missed this on her opener.
I like how tight she gets. The hands close to the shoulders. The lats.
Yeah, she's just got, all she's got to do now is just be a little bit more confident in her ability to raise that weight. That looks better. Those knees are a real problem, though.
I'm not in love with the knees touching, but I think that's going to pass the judges.
It does. It gets on the board. So Hannah Rantala from Finland now, 117.5. Well under a personal best of 132.5.
And it's a veteran's move. Look, you approach the day like every day's a new day. Past numbers can be deceiving, and they could set you up for grinders and expending more energy than you got.
If you're always trying to chase that personal best, your powerlifting doesn't work like that. You are going to have months where weights go up. You're going to have months where things don't always go up.
And even within the same day, squats can be tough and deadlifts can be on fire. Just take what's there.
You have to adjust for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets that one on the board. So Heather Connor now, 127.5. Butters and Pancake are sitting at home cheering for her.
I'm expecting Heather to treat it just like the previous lifter.
Yeah,
That
she's going to bring some fire. She's got to be a bit confident and know she has the ability to raise that bar.
Almost like establishing the strike zone in baseball. The judges are helping her establish what they want for depth for the day. Okay, you want a little lower, I'll take it a stitch lower. Consistency is key. As long as it's consistent, you have the expectation of the depth you need. You play within there.
Everyone's watching very closely. That looks a little better.
From the front view, my angle looked good. We'll see if the judges agree.
Yeah, she gets that one on the board.
See on the replay here, that's nice indeed.
Yeah, a lot better there. So she'll be able to get that on the board.
Interesting to see, as we discussed, if they want a jump plan third, plan second, maybe something in between.
So Simone Lay, Canada, 130.
And you had said Simone was looking to do a little damage in the squat event, and she's off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, every athlete has their, their preferred or the one that they're really strong in. And for her squat is solid. I mean, if you look at the Irish lifter, she has a solid opening bench.
Yeah, you have a game plan. This is where we're going to cover some ground. The other list, we might just be holding serve. And covering ground, she is.
Smooth all the way through. Did she get down low enough on that one?
I thought so.
Not deep enough.
Take a look at this replay.
It looked pretty close. Yeah, she's just cutting it a little bit shy there. She's just cutting it shy. It's going to hurt a little bit. Now at the big call from the coach now, I mean, does he put that extra 2.5 kilos on, knowing that, it was an easy lift?
This is where she wants to cover ground, as we had said, and it looked as smooth as her opener. She always takes it a slow descent and ascent. They might want to just throw some more kilos.
Naomi Alabay from France, 132.5. Yeah, great second squat.
Yep. Again, not much different in terms of her opener.
Wow, really well done there. So we move around to our third round of squats now. Anna Klisch from Russia, 95 kilograms. So she's had a rough time on this with her second. Yeah, and she is, she'll be a bit upset with herself from that second. She's a good lifter.
Yeah, is this the technical breakdown with the knees coming in?
Everything was out of time. She is, she's only 4 years competing. That's better. She had to fight, but it was a lot better.
Stuck the knees out.
And look at the difference. And that was it. She stuck the knees out there, and she has the power drive. Yeah, a much better attempt there. Didn't have to, it was a tough little lift, but she didn't put nearly as much energy into that as she did in the second.
Psychologically, it means a lot for a lifter to miss, come back, and hit the same weight. It helps the momentum.
Aya Fukumura from Japan, 95 kilograms. So missed this on her second.
Trying to follow Anna's footsteps. Exact same weight, and hopefully the exact same
Just got to
outcome.
sink it in a little bit more. Get that bounce out of the bottom and use that speed. I mean, one of the things I used to tell athletes, is, young athletes when I was coaching them, was hit the bottom, get the bounce, and chase the bar back up. Depth is good.
Wow.
That looks good.
Very clean, smooth lift.
And that one goes on. So Janine Martin now. They did throw, so they've got their 105 now.
Personal best. We thought 102.5 was work. I think a 2.5 kilo jump, smallest incremental jump, is the appropriate selection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 105. I mean, it's going to be a tough lift, but yeah, I think she's got it in her. Yeah, she's certainly got an experienced coach in the corner. They would have had all the right words in her ears.
Yeah, oftentimes, and that depth looks good.
And it's tough, but she gets it there.
Oftentimes when the lifter might be lacking experience, you gain confidence as a lifter when your coaching staff has decades behind them.
Yeah, it certainly makes a big difference. I mean, to have that experience in your corner, it makes a very big difference to how you perform. It's the belief in yourself, your confidence.
As long as you feel like you're in good hands, it takes a little bit of stress and anxiety away.
Paulina Semenel from Poland, 110.
She's ramped up the intensity. Sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, sometimes it can make the difference. I mean, 105, her opener was super tough.
110 looked like overreaching. We have to take that again. However,
Yeah,
her approach.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the next time you take it, all of a sudden the nervous system knows what it feels like now.
Yep. You might not expect to have to fight that much in your second, and you're anticipating in your third. Well, here we are in the thirds. But
And she's just not getting any speed out of the hole. You know, if we can see the replay, you'll see that she's got great control, but there's just no speed out of the bottom. And as soon as she comes out of the bottom, she's got to lift that chest, and she's really got to chase that bar up. So she's getting the pop up, but there's no chase. So then the bar is stopping, and she's got to start again.
also, the scream, like usually you don't let it all out so far down because you need to keep braced in your air. You weren't out of danger yet.
That's right. Tatiana Karleva from Russia, 112.5. Again, missing this on a second.
She's hit it previously. We'll love to come back and hit it again today.
Yeah, it's certainly not a new weight for her.
Did she cut it?
Yeah, that's not going.
Again, you almost heard her out of breath by the end. And
Yeah, I mean, you made a good point. I mean, when we squat, we take in that big breath in, we brace. You know, some use it to push into their belt, others use it to push into their abdominal wall. If you're letting your air out, you're letting your tightness go as well.
all of it, you can hear that at the lockout, but when you're stuck in a sticking point, she let it all out, and you can actually hear in her voice.
Yeah, you need
yeah, it was
that
out
brace.
of breath.
Stephanie Ensol, 115 for Malaysia. Yeah, she has a super deep squat.
Yeah, and she also limped off the platform the first time. Now, that can be anything from a cramp to, nothing major. However, you do want to draw your attention if it's going to impact. And when you have a great range of motion like that, and it's that dynamic, it also
Yeah,
it's
I
a
mean, the
big ask.
downside is that it can cause some problems with the knees.
There's a lot of pull.
And that one was just a bit too heavy. Great catch from the spotters
I
there.
was going to say the spotters and loaders are all over these catching, also loading very quickly.
Super fast. They grabbed that very, very quickly. As soon as she started to drop, they were on it.
They're actually a spotting and loading team from Czechia that travel with all the European and World Championship that are held by the IPF because they're the best of the best at what they do.
Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines, looking for 120. And you can see the difference when her knees came out then. All of a sudden the speed started to pick up again. She was starting to slow down, remembers to push her knees out.
Yeah, you see here the hip is clearly lower than the knee on this side. I have a front view, and the other ref called it high because her hips don't rest. Totally symmetrical.
Yeah, and that is a lot of that is because the knees are coming in. She's putting herself off center. Hanna Rantala from Finland, 122.5.
Looking to pick up an extra 5 kilo.
Depth looks good. Oh, she almost got through that sticking point there. I thought she was going to push through it, but it just got a little bit too much, and she made a good decision there.
Yeah, didn't expend too much energy to a lost cause. It just wasn't going to happen.
So Simone Lay, 130. Now they're stuck with the 130.
It'll still, right now she's on the podium in a bronze medal position for the squats. It'll move her up to silver. Did not have to cover a whole lot of ground.
No, that's right. I mean, it's always a big decision. It's always an easier decision with the heavier weight classes. It's always a harder decision with these weight classes because even a couple of kilos is still a fairly decent percentage of body weight.
Yep. It's a higher percentage jump in terms of the weight on your back as well. So I think it's a good call. See if she can just get that on the board. If she does, it's also another 5 kilo.
Yeah, she has the power. She just needs to sink it in, be a bit confident.
Ooh.
She got a bit unstable there.
Yeah.
She regathered and got a head up. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
It is.
It was close though. It was just unsteady. Yeah, it looks better. It's like she hit depth, and once she hit depth though, there's a little bit of a wobble.
Yeah. Yeah, just a bit of problem with the confidence there. 132.5 now for Heather Connor. Up the intensity a little bit for this one.
This will have her in first place for squats, currently resting in bronze. And bigger picture, 5 more kilo towards her total. And Heather is definitely looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, you've got to play the long game.
A lifter like Heather, her heart is set on the world title or bust. That looks good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. She looks happy.
You can kind of tell if you hit depth when you're the lifter.
There it is. Yeah, I mean, you know when you're there, and you know an experienced lifter will know that they've hit depth, and you'll see them smile.
Yeah.
And the experienced lifter will also know, you know what, I pulled it up short.
And you just keep quiet. There's also times when you see lifter cut a little shy, and you can tell they're trying to sell it by smiling and nodding.
Sometimes you got to try and sell it a bit. Naomi Alabay from France, 137.5. Pop the intensity up just a little bit for this.
Yeah, she was very calm, cool, collected for opener and second, and this is how it's played. You got X amount of energy expended for the last lifts.
Depth looks good.
Yep.
Smooth all the way through.
Very well done, I think.
And it's on the board. That
And
one goes on, and it's in the books.
collects herself a golden squat, collects herself another 5 kilo towards her total.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to heat up now. Those top few are very, very close. It's really going to come down to those deadlifts in the battles. So don't go too far away. 20 minutes time, we're going to be right back here. Let these girls warm up and hit the bench press. Welcome back to Helsingborg, Sweden, and we are just about to get the bench press underway. Great thing about the first session, everyone's got a squat on the board.
Yeah, everybody moves forward. You need at least one lift to move forward to the next event. Nobody's bombed out. We have had a couple people miss their first attempts and might be a little setback though.
Yeah, so there's a couple of setbacks. I mean, everyone's sort of come here, and we've got quite a few of the lifters have only got 2 lifts on the board, and it certainly does upset your plan a bit. I mean, I know as a coach you come in with a bit of a plan, and you've got your planned 3rd attempts, yeah, but you've got to be adaptable. You've got to change on the day. You noted before, I mean, Heather's plans change now.
It certainly has, and it's opened the door for the other contenders to gain a little bit of ground. The bench press isn't her greatest event either, so we'll see how the action unfolds in the bench press event, and leading into the deads, still anybody's game.
Well, here we are. We're about 3 seconds away. Anna Klisch from Russia, 55 kilograms on the bar. And there's a few women to watch in this session, that's for sure. We're keeping a close eye on the young lady from Ireland, who's got a pretty solid bench on her. But, you know, we talk about it all the time. This isn't the place that you chase people. This is the place you just try and get those couple extra kilos on your total.
Yeah, very few lifters are going to be chasing in the bench press.
So Anna Klisch, Russia, 55. She's got a best lift of 60. And she's getting a replacement call, and I think it's her feet.
You need your feet flat on the ground, head on the bench, butt on the bench, arms locked out to get that start command.
So she gets the start command.
There it is.
And she handles that well. I mean, it's a little bit of pressure when that happens. When you get that replacement call, you've been holding the bar isometrically for, 10, 12 seconds. Then you got to put it back again. Then you got to get yourself in a position again. It's a lot of stress when that happens.
And this is why your opening weight is very important to attempt something you can hold for 10
Yeah,
seconds.
it's got to be something that you can do any day of the week. Aya Fukumura from Japan, 62 and a half. And that's the other reason we always talk about lifters being ready to go when bar's called, especially on bench. 1 minute's a long time, but if you have to replace the bar, fix something, all of a sudden, the time's kicking down. And when that time gets to 10 seconds and the beep starts coming, the stress levels just skyrocket.
100%. Bench is very technical. You're going to see these ladies, a setup like this, she's driving her traps into the bench. You have the lever, which is the arm, the fulcrum of the lever, which is the shoulder, but the touch point obviously is further just below the chest. So you try to drive the fulcrum of that lever under the touch point so you could get a lot of force behind your press, mitigate the range of motion.
Gets that chest right up there and really reduces the range of motion. Gets it on the board, nice easy opening lift. So Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines, 65. So just 5 kilos under her personal best.
Because the touch point is dynamically, the fulcrum of the lever is away from the touch point, easier to misgroove a bench press than it is the other lifts.
Yeah, very much so. And the technicality and the preciseness, particularly when you get to the weight classes like this, where technique is so precise and so important. I mean, if you're a 100 or 120 lifter, you can probably, you can rescue yourself a couple of times on a bad lift with a bit of muscle out. When you're in this weight class, you haven't got 100 kilos of muscle to muscle through with. Everything's got to be right. And just didn't get the power off the chest there. Let's have a look in the replay. From this angle, it looked like she pushed forward a little bit. And we won't miss the replay. We won't get the replay for that one. But perhaps we'll have a look at her next replay.
It's, you know what? She missed her opening squat, rebounded. She's not rattled. She's been there before, even in the same competition.
So Simone Lay, 65. Yeah, I mean, Evangelista's got the experience for this not to rattle her too much. I mean, the only thing it's going to do really is it's probably a couple of kilos she's not going to be added to a total now. She'll take her opening lift again at the same weight.
You see that arch. Legs back. Not going to be a whole lot of leg drive, but it helps her maintain such an aggressive arch. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was a good press, that one.
There's also, because it's such a technical lift, and it's the only lift of the 3 lifts that has 3 commands: start command, press command, and rack command. There's so many ways you could lose a bench press.
Yeah, there are so many little things that can go wrong. Heather Connor, 67.5.
Heather has a big squat, huge dead, serviceable bench press. So she's just trying to hold serve, collect a couple kilo.
Yeah, and I mean, these numbers, they're opening at above body weight. And not just a little bit above body weight, well above body weight.
Oh yeah, no, that's
And that's a good one to get on the board. That's going to build her confidence a little bit after missing her first squat. She's going to start feeling a little bit better. Paulina from Poland now, 72.5. Her personal best is 75 kilos.
yeah.
I just hope they haven't opened too high again. We've seen several Polish lifters miss all 3 lifts in different sessions.
Usually, if you see in the squat event that she opened high in terms of weight, really gassed out in the next 2 lifts failing, you're going to lower the bench, you adjust and call audibles so that your lifter, A, manages the rest of the energy they have left, and B, gets a little more positive momentum.
Well, let's hope this one is a little bit different.
Nothing can break a lifter's will like continuously failing.
So 72.5.
Wysoko klata, dużo nogi, wysoko klata, wysoko.
It's got a good setup. Chest is high.
Dawaj wysoko, dużo nogi, dawaj wysoko, wysoko. Dawaj, 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 dawaj.
And that just looks too heavy today.
And you got to read the warning signs. You got to adjust to what's there in the day. Yeah,
If we get a chance to see the replay, I mean, let's have a look and we'll see if it was technique.
it was barely off the chest, though. If it's...
She came down in a very odd groove. You could see the bar shifted back a bit. So it is fixable. So 72.5 on the bar now for Naomi Alabay from France. So this is close to her personal best as well, but she's been very strong in the squats.
Nowhere near as aggressive an arch on her setup. Long way down.
And handles that very well.
Very well.
Tatiana Koroleva from Russia now, 72.5.
Best previous bench, 77.5. Giving herself a little bit of room. 5 kilo doesn't sound like a lot of room, but obviously, again, percentage-wise, she should be pretty safe. And her being a 17-year veteran and the coaching staff for Russia, they're pretty good on their attempt selection. Very rarely miss.
Yeah, I mean they've been solid. They've had some ups and downs this week as well. But this is the first time in the Opens now. Junior and sub-junior lifters, a lot more difficult to make those decisions, and that's a good opening lift.
Yep. I think that is the type of opener I like to see, where you're not gambling, you're not expending too much energy, you're getting on the board, and you get an accurate assessment how many more kilo you should go for your second.
Right. Stephanie Ensol from Malaysia now, 75.
And for instance, with Stephanie competing 1 year, if you're uncertain where their top end might be, for an opener, play it safe. The opener's not the time to
always
gamble.
play it safe.
You see the chalk all over the body there. It's for grip, but if I may, that Alico rack, the bench itself is designed for high friction, so when you have a nice setup like that, you're not going to slide around on it. Alico, top of the food chain when it comes to
their new bench,
powerlifting
they've really
equipment.
thought about the lifters on this one, and got that extra friction.
Very close grip on this bench.
Very close grip. And she gets the 2 white lights. You know, it's not unusual for a close grip, particularly in a new female lifter. She's got a cramp in her finger there and couldn't get a hand off the bar. We've all had that moment. But it's not actually unusual to have a closer grip for female bench pressers when they're just starting out, and we gradually expand the lift as they develop as lifters as well. Physiologically speaking, when they start off, they're a lot stronger in that position than they are with a wider position.
I think I remember myself actually starting a lot closer. The inclination to spread out with your grip, it feels unnatural initially.
Yeah,
And
and
then
for
as
the
you-
the physiological build of a female lifter is quite different than a male lifter, so we do tend to start them a lot closer. So Janine Martin, Ireland, 75, and hammers that up well. So that one goes to the board.
When you hear Gary talk about the physiological builds, Gary's a doctor and also an uplift coach. And
Uplift
you were
coach as
saying,
well.
even though you have that doctor behind you and all the schooling you did, the interview process
Yeah,
was so deep.
I still had to sit an interview process with a doctor in the US, one of the universities, and yeah, there were plenty of questions there that I hadn't visited for a very long time.
And if you're a doctor and you're like, wow, this is a tough interview to become a coach for uplift, I can only imagine.
Yeah,
anyone
you know
else.
you're getting the best. Hannah Ratala, that looks tough. She muscled through. I think it's okay. No, she's got a bit of bar dip there. It's a double movement from the bar, up, down.
Seen a pause. We're going to get another view on it.
Yeah, you could just see it start to swing around.
So
It just looked tough. She
It
just needs to chase that bar a little bit more.
expended a lot of energy. You know,
Yeah, it's a lot of use.
hate to be pessimistic, but again, when it comes to the bench, in terms of the bar path, it means a lot. You miss groove, it looks worse than it is. You get a good groove, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, what happened in the opener? That flew.
Yeah, it can make a big difference. Anna Klish from Russia now, 60 kilograms. So opening right on her personal best.
Pause on the way down. You don't have to see the pause on the way down,
Yeah, there's just a little bit of hesitation
Yeah.
there, wasn't there?
but it's good nonetheless.
Yeah, it was a good lift, nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
There was just that moment of hesitation as she started lowering. But you know, I mean, she's only been competing 4 years, so it may have been a bit of nerves. It may have been, did I actually hear the start command?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you wouldn't think jumping commands is something that happens. It happens a lot. It can happen to even 10-year veterans. You get a little excited, and you hear a noise. It's
Yeah,
almost like
I mean,
the
it's really easy to do with the adrenaline's pumping. Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines.
look. If Usain Bolt can have a false start at the Worlds,
That's
then
right.
anything can happen.
So 65, she missed this on her opener.
There you go.
That looks better.
3
And
rights.
it goes on the board.
And just like I said, bench is like that where it's so technical. You can miss a lift, come back and hit it, and have everyone asking, well, what happened with the first one?
Yeah,
A
look,
small
it
miss-
is. It's so technical, and when you get it right, there's times in training when you get it right, and there's been times for me in training when I get it right. You stand up on the bench and think, well, that was easy. Yeah, what did I do?
Yeah. It's just there's so many different levers that when they're in alignment, it's like the perfect storm in your favor. And when they're out of alignment, there's no coming back sometimes.
Yeah, that's it. Aya Fakamura from Japan, 67.5 for her second. It's a 5 kilo jump. That's a decent sized jump on bench in this weight class. But still well under a personal best.
Yeah, I was just checking that out. So you could take decent jumps as long as it's under your limit, but every limit is different for every day. This could be an indication where her limit is.
And she has a great range of motion though. Look how high she gets up.
Oh, it was work though.
She timed that press command absolutely perfectly there.
Yeah.
So much so that it was almost in the back of my head. Did she jump that?
Like a Jedi mind trick.
It was
Of
right
course,
on the
so-
money. Heather Connor, 70 kilograms.
2.5 kilo jump for Connor. Again, looking to hold serve. Doesn't need to cover too much ground. Just wants to get some 3 benches in and then start pulling away on the deadlifts. She should have this. It's well within her means.
Yeah, that's a good lift, that one. Butters and Pancake at home would be proud of that.
Yeah, they are. And she's also keeping plenty of energy in terms of
Yeah, I
for
mean,
the
she hasn't
third
had to
bench.
expel an enormous amount of energy yet. Even her squats, she hasn't really had to expel enormous amounts of energy.
you notice how ramped up she gets for squats and a different type of lifter approaching the bench. And even that, in terms of intensity, how much you're putting forth, you got to manage it.
Simone Lay from Canada.
Just a kilo under her personal best, which is a Canadian national record that she took at the Nationals just a couple months ago.
Yeah, that's a tough turnaround too. You know, a couple of months from nationals to world championships.
I'm going to have to agree with you. Wow. But handles
Very,
it pretty
very
smoothly,
easily
though.
done.
2.5 kilos should be there, a new
She's got
Canadian
plenty
national
more
record.
in the tank there. Polina Simonal from Poland, 72.5. Missed this on her opener. I mean, it looked really heavy, but you see in the replay, her bar path, as she came down to her chest, it dropped forward on her chest a little bit. If she can fix that, and she can get everything lined up properly.
One must hope. Now she's getting all types of fired up. Usually, again, you don't get this fired up for an opening weight. It should be a weight you could hit in the warm-up room and just get yourself on the board. But this is where she's backed up into, where she's got to fight for her life with opening weight.
Do przodu, tak, do przodu, żeby było z czego się odepchnąć. Proste łokcie i klata w górze. Wejdę na noga, ręka. Noga, ręka, dawaj.
Just got to
noga,
groove
ręka,
this
dawaj,
right.
Noga, ręka,
She
dawaj.
came down way too fast.
Yeah, it was almost uncontrolled there.
Yeah, she got a line a little bit better, but she just came down too fast.
And-
Not sure if we'll see that in the replay. She got the line right that time, but you could see just bam into her chest.
And, you know, you shouldn't need to get so riled up, so worked up if that's opening weight. We say it, I hate to
no,
be-
but that's exactly right. I mean, you shouldn't, on an opening, particularly on bench. I mean, opening squat, you'll see a lot of people get a bit riled up because it's an opening squat, intensity, it's
Little nervous,
nerve-wracking.
yeah.
But bench, it's one of those ones that opening bench, you want to be very calm, very confident.
it shouldn't be a big ask, and certainly not a failing.
Alave from France now, 77.5. So give her a nice little personal best.
Handled 72.5 very well. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good second.
it was work, but it's there. Probably 2.5 kilo. Oh,
Oh, she gets 2 red lights.
see the other camera
So
angle
she's got the
here.
yellow card, so I think that's butt lift on that one. Let's have a look. Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, so we'd said the points of contact, feet got to be flat, butt on the bench, shoulders on the bench,
Yeah.
head on the bench.
Tatiana Koroleva from Russia, 77.5. This is equal to her personal best. Going by her opening lift, I think she should manage this. It's
Yeah.
a 5 kilo jump though.
5 kilos, obviously a decent jump in this weight class in the bench press event, but the way her opener moved, I'm not too worried. Oh,
And gets it to the top. And gets it on the board.
definitely work. A 2.5 kilo jump would be advised, smallest jump you could take.
Yeah, was definitely some work there. Stephanie Ensol, Malaysia, 80 kilograms. So we are getting super close to double body weight. I mean, we are approaching very quickly to double body weight on a bench.
And this is a 2.5 kilo personal best for Stephanie. Uncharted territory at the IPF World Championships for her. The nerves
Yeah.
go up a little bit.
Now, watching her walk out onto the platform there and get the impression that she has a bit of a strain in the quadricep,
Yeah,
or
she had,
perhaps, perhaps it's something with her knee from those squats. I hope it's not going to affect her deadlift. She's a very close grip.
that's a close grip bench
Lots of
press.
tricep work there. But she puts,
She's uncomfortable.
oh, she gets, let's just watch her walk off. She got 2 red lights. I'm just trying to watch.
Yeah, Bud is way off the bench there. That's no
Yeah,
question. That
and
was an easy call.
I think a lot of that's coming from that leg problem she's got.
She is,
She
yeah.
can't drive in the way she would usually drive, which is forcing her to push up.
Yep. And even maybe setting it up for stability, it's an issue. So who knows? To stabilize better might even affect her grip, might affect everything. She's got one on the board, though.
Yeah, that's it. Janine Martin from Ireland now, 80 kilograms. And that is the importance of being so careful on your opening lift, isn't it? She's got a little bit of a problem. She's not progressing very well, but she's got one on the board.
Adjust. It's part of sports.
Oh, she had to grind that one out. But she gets the job done.
5 extra kilos came at a cost.
This is her strongest event here, is the bench press. So, Jay was talking to me earlier and said, this is the one. We're strong everywhere, but this is her strongest. If there's a chance to podium on it, they'll be going for it. Hanna Rantala from Finland, 87.5, missed on her opener. Needs to put this on the board or she's going to find herself under all sorts of pressure. And that looked a lot better. It is.
And again, we had said small adjustment, especially with a press like the bench press. It's so technical. Can make a big difference.
Yeah, the tiniest little thing can make such a huge impact on a bench. Anna Klish from Russia, 62.5. Yeah, in bench press it is. It's such a technical lift, and the lines, the fulcrums, the levers have to all be perfect for everything to work right, especially when you're right at the top. This is your absolute 1RM, not a gym 1RM. This is an absolute. 62.5. This will give her a nice little personal best if she can get this on the board.
Jumped 5 kilo from her opener to her second. Hit it, but it was definitely work. I'm going to agree with the 2.5 kilo jump. Any more, I think, would have been too much.
Yeah, you could see on the way down there, losing a bit of energy, body was wobbling a little, wasn't quite stable. And when that happens, you're just wasting energy. You're putting forces and energy where you don't need it. Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines wants a 67.5.
Had a rocky start with her opener. Came back, hit it so smooth, you're wondering, well, what happened with the opener? That was easy. Added 2.5 kilo, and it's a bit of a 50-50 now. What do we expect? Do we expect the performance from the opener or the performance from the second attempt?
Well, I like the fact that they've stuck to their original plan. They didn't try to go for their planned third lift here. They've just done the 2.5 kilos, what they were planning on going from first to second. I think that's a smart move there. It's an extra couple of kilos on your total if you can get it. Yeah, and that should be a good lift.
And there it is. 3 white lights.
So Heather Connor now, 72.5.
This will match her personal best, but the way she moves 70 kilo for her second, I think she can handle this today.
She's got that chest up high. Gets Just a big breath. And just a little too much. She got good drive off her chest there. And she's not overly upset about that.
No, I mean, that's the thing. It's only two
She
and a
got
half
good
kilos.
drive and just sort of couldn't convert.
Yeah,
but
kinda
was starting to lift.
Cut a little early towards her head. And it is only 2.5 kilos she's leaving on the table.
Now, this young lady in all sorts of trouble here, Helena Simonel from Poland. She has missed it on the first, missed it on the second. And everyone wants to see her get this. Nobody wants to see an athlete leave a competition like this.
It is taking monumental efforts for her to get these.
It's heavy, and it's probably on the heavy side, but she's just, if she can line everything up, she can put everything together right, this will come up really well, but she's got to get everything together.
Noga, plecy, plecy w ławkę.
And it's just not going to happen today. What a disappointing way for her to finish the bench press.
She will be able to deadlift. It
She
just
can
will
still
not,
deadlift.
It's not a registered official total anymore.
Yeah, but she's going to be very, very disappointed with herself. Aya Fukamura from Japan now, 72 and a half.
5 kilo jump for her, equaling her personal best. Just going over that handoff, and we had said how much the alignment of the bar path and the setup is important. The handoff can really undo an amazing setup if it isn't handed off where you want to on the chest. It pulls you out of place.
It can waste a lot of energy as well. I mean, if all of a sudden you've got to shift the bar around into place where you want it, all of a sudden you're using up a lot of energy.
And now if that shifting kind of pulls you out of alignment, well,
That arch is huge.
very aggressive. Holy.
Oh, it's a bit of work, and it's just not going to get there today.
Smiles it off.
Yeah, she gave it a good effort, though. Simone Lay, Canada, 72 and a half. She's having quite a good morning on the bench.
70, move very smooth.
This will be a Canadian record, will it?
That's right. It will be by 1.5 kilos. And judging by how 70 moved, I think it's there. Again, she just has to be pinpoint accuracy with her alignment and bar
Yeah,
path.
I mean, the 70 moved really fast, especially considering that she did a 71 a couple of months ago for a national record.
Progress has been good in terms of her training. Nice.
That was pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, going by that, I mean, that looks like a good lift. It is. I imagine at Canadian National, she probably could have pushed a little bit more than 71. But knowing that she had Worlds around the corner,
Yeah,
if you go pushing yourself to your absolute 2 months before Worlds, you're really risking your opportunities at Worlds.
and it is a quick drop off with the bench. So, but I think that attempt selection was on the money. 2.5 kilo more, and it probably wouldn't have moved.
Alabay from France, 77 and a half. So missed this on a second. And just needs to put everything together.
Grosse pression. Allez, on y va, on se met en route.
Stays tight.
Allez, reste.
That's better.
Nicely done.
Yeah, did everything stay down? It did. That's more like it.
Yeah, you could see when she's tight, it starts pressing, the arms shake, but the base is underneath her, so she has something to draw upon.
So Stephanie Ensol now from Malaysia, 80 kilograms.
Can she replicate that and bounce back from her missed second? Very similar scenario. Both lifters were going for a 2.5 kilo personal best in their second. Both lifters miss. One's come back to hit it. Can Stephanie do the same? And how do you feel about that? You take your opener, jump over your previous best, because sometimes you want a new ground, hitting old lifts. You know, mentally, You get a little more keyed up when it's new weight, but on second attempts, is it too
look,
early?
no, it's a tough call. I mean, I think from a coach's perspective, you've got to keep reminding athletes that it's just not a linear process.
Oh, wow.
And she drives that up.
As long as her butt stayed down.
She didn't. So unfortunately, she got it up there, but we'll have a look at the replay there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it comes right off the bench. So Tatiana Koroleva from Russia now, 80 kilograms. This will be a nice little personal best if she can put this one on the board.
It'll also, if temporarily, put her on the podium in the bench press event for a bronze. Still 2 more lifters to go.
Well, yeah, if she puts this one on the board, she takes the bronze. Taking her time with the setup. And just a little too heavy today. Not quite there.
You could see her getting tight, taking the breaths.
Yeah, just a
The
little bit too
bracing.
much. So Alibert stays safe in the bronze. Janine Martin now from Ireland.
Also
She
safe.
has the silver.
Yep, safe in the silver. But despite no progress in terms of medals in the bench press event, it's 2.5 kilos she gets to throw towards her total.
Yeah, every kilo counts here. So she's going to take her time with this one. It's 5 kilos over her personal best. And the 80 wasn't an easy lift. And 82 and a half, just a little bit too much today. But she gets the silver medal.
And thus far,
Yeah, she's not too upset about that.
in a field of 11 lifters, only 3 hit successful ones on the
Yeah.
third attempts.
So Hannah Rantala now, let's see if we can make it 4 for 90 kilos. She has the gold medal in the bench. Pound for pound, that is one solid bench.
And a podium favorite in the total. It'll really help her campaign to hit that podium to add 2.5 more kilo.
Well, at 90 kilos, I mean, if she can hit that, she's only a couple of kilos away from double body weight. And I think she's got it. And she has. She goes on the board with 90 kilograms. That is so close to double body weight. Absolutely unbelievable. Well, it's starting to warm up. It's really going to come down now to the deadlifts. I mean, certainly, Heather Connor has put herself in a great position if she get her open on the board. But second and third, they're sitting right behind there, and there's not only a few kilos between second and third. And fourth, just sitting right in there as well. Lay from Canada is just sitting like a couple of kilos behind, just waiting to see if anyone makes a mistake. I'm going to come rolling through the door.
And that's really the best strategy to have when you're in the 4th position. Stay in the pocket, hit your lifts. As we've seen plenty of times before, mistakes happen. The door swings open for opportunity. You're there to take it.
Well, don't go away. 20 minutes time. We'll be right back to find out what happens. Welcome back to Helsingborg, Sweden, and we are just about to get the deadlift party started. It's been an interesting prognosis so far. A few missed lifts here and there. Some people have to adjust their plans a little bit. What do you think's going to happen? What are we looking forward to here?
Well, Heather Connor has the capabilities of deadlifting over 4 times her body weight, maybe even as deep as 4.5 times her body weight. There was a time where this kind of talk would be absolutely unreasonable and insane, the type of thing of comic books, but here we are, and perhaps she's going to treat us to that.
Well, this is what happens now. I mean, you've got everyone with their lifts on the board so far. We've got one lifter from Poland who missed all the bench. She's going to have to refocus and see, what can she do in the deadlift. But what we're going to see, I think, everyone's going to get these opening lifts on the board, and then the coaches are going to be at the back doing their numbers and just saying, can I move up the rankings? Can I go after the gold? Can I go after the silver? And how do you protect the one you've already got? And that's the tough call. You've got to watch behind, haven't you? So, Aya Fukamura from Japan, 117.5. And the one thing we really want to see here is we want to see all these openers go on the board, and that's when the battles start taking place.
Look, that's your invite to the deadlift party. Once you get your opener on the board, then you can start dancing and having fun.
So taking your time, and the deadlift, of course, the only lift you don't have to wait for a start command. Sort of takes the pressure off a little bit, I think.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's the simplest lift. There's only one command, down, and there's less infractions. I think there's less ways of missing a dead. Pretty as a picture, isn't it?
That's a good opening lift there.
The bar pass, straight up, straight down, leisurely, and that's what you want to see.
Very nicely done. That one goes on the board. Anna Klish from Russia, 127.5.
And in terms of the Russian attempt selection, she's hit 145. So 127.5. Not only is it a guarantee to lock in her total, not only is it great to manage the exertion she's going to put in, but also building that positive momentum. And you have 2 more lifts.
Yeah, and it gives us some room to move.
Mm-hmm.
Gets it to lock. And it goes on the board.
Now for the viewers, there's double overhand right there and a hook grip. Gary, maybe quickly touch on the advantages of such.
Yeah, I've said the double overhand hook grip, I mean, it's tough to do. You've got to wrap your hands right around, get your thumb in underneath your fingers as well. It's tough. And I'll pick it up in a second, but right now, Paulina from Poland, now she missed all her bench. So she can't register a total now. So these deadlifts are going to be a bit of redemption for her.
One would hope they dropped her deadlift opener so she has an easy one.
That looks a lot better.
A lot better.
Yeah, so the double overhead hook grip it's particularly in the sumo, gives you a slight biomechanical advantage because the direction that you pull the bar as well. And it's also a lot better on that bicep tendon. When you use that alternating grip, that turned overhand, that bicep tendon becomes quite exposed. So you're less susceptible to injury as well, except for your thumbs. It is murder on the thumbs. Tatiana Koroleva from Russia now, 130. Ooh, tough lockout. I think that was more of she's a little bit dizzy there. She gets it on the board. I think that was more of just a bit of a missed timing than it being too heavy. It came off the floor really fast. And I think she just sort of misgrooved. Yeah, you can see she just sort of wobbled at the top, bit of balance.
And it's important to note, among the infractions, your body can go up, down. The bar can't go up, down. So the refs aren't looking for your body wobbles, which can happen as long as the bar itself only ever goes in one direction.
They're watching that bar. Simone Lay from Canada, 137.5. And she wants to get this one on the board because she's sitting in a nice little position, just watching everyone battle it out in front of her and just waiting for an opportunity.
That was pretty smooth.
And that should be a good opening lift, and it is.
Yeah, that's very well played right there. And I think you said it right off the bat. I think the Canadian team is likely telling themselves, hang in the pocket, stay tight.
Yeah, exactly. They're not going to be saying too much to her about, medal podium finishes. They're going to be just talking about her, get a job done. And in the background, they're doing the numbers, waiting to see what happens, not putting any pressure on her.
Yep, and then come the last deadlifts.
Hannah Rantala, 137.5.
Nice lift again.
Yeah, very smooth all the way through. So Janine Martin from Ireland, 137.5. So well under her personal best. You know, she's been having a great day so far as well.
And thus far, everybody hitting their openers, not only with successful lifts, but no major grinders. They look like openers should.
Got that big patented SBD belt on, one of our great sponsors. And puts that one on the board. And of course, none of this possible without Alico, who just continually raise the bar. We talk about Alico all the time, and it's not because they're sponsors, it's because that's the equipment we use, and it really is the best.
Well, yeah.
Show me another bar that can take this sort of punishment day in, day out.
I was just about to say that the pounding that bar takes and gives nothing.
You know, it'll be as good today. It'll be as good in 2 weeks as it is today, and it'll go on to do more work and more competitions, and it'll be just as good.
You come back 10 years from now, that same bar could still be in play and be absolutely fine.
Stephanie Ensol from Malaysia. Looking for 145. It's just quite a casual opening lift there. Didn't need to bring too much fire to the platform.
Still a little bit.
She's a little tender there.
Yeah.
And it's good to see that it hasn't really affected her deadlift too much.
She has officially logged her total with that opener, so she cannot bomb.
Alibert from France, 147.5, really bringing the intensity.
Nice pull.
And gets it to the top without any problems. Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines looking for 150.
And Alibert, right now, isn't very far behind Heather Connor and could press Heather.
Yeah, I mean, she's kept herself within striking distance. You know, and the problem for her is that, you know, Rantala has kept herself within striking distance of silver. And, of course, Lane from Canada has kept herself within striking distance as well. So you're going to have to be really careful if you're trying to go after that medal above you, that someone from behind isn't thinking, go on, go after it.
Yeah, reach,
put the
overreach.
Put the extra on. And no problems with that lift at all.
Very smooth. I find oftentimes the smaller the lifters are in the lower weight classes, so technically proficient. The heavier weight classes, technical, but you can see some lifts get muscled up.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly see in the heavier weight classes, you know, technique, and we drill it through every single athlete. But technical proficiency in the lighter weight classes, phenomenal. Heather Connor, USA, 167.5.
Speaking of a technician,
she's getting fired up for this one.
Heather's deadlift is the thing of legend. And that is the famous hair flip from Heather Connor.
And she's got the butter and the pancake on that one.
That's right. And you see the difference in how she approaches the deadlift event to the bench press event.
Yeah, I mean, her intensity is different for each lift, and that's what it needs to be. If you can't bring out that sort of intensity in every single lift, you're just not going to make it. Nope. You know, it burns energy, you know, uses up that fuel tank, and if you're bringing out that sort of intensity for every lift, you're going to get to the end of your bench and there's nothing left in the tank.
Couldn't agree more.
Aya Fukumura from Japan, 127.5.
All the ladies are on the board. All the ladies now can start taking jumps.
Yeah, the party's open now. This is where they start looking at the numbers and start looking to see just how much they've got left in the tank. Really takes her time to get everything right, doesn't she?
Wow. That moved like an opener.
Very smooth. It did. It looked like an opening lift.
And that's a 10-kilo jump.
She's got a little bit more in the tank there. So, I mean, she'll be looking now. Her job now is to go, okay, how much more can I lift?
I'm glad you brought that up. If you're wondering, well, if you're finishing off the podium, no, even jumping from top 10, which is top 10 in the world, by the way, to 8 is points for the Japanese team, and there are team points in the bigger picture.
So Anna Klish from Russia, 137.5.
Another 10-kilo jump.
Yeah, looks like a good lift.
Yeah, we had
It
thought,
is.
you know, I believe it was Anna who we thought there was a bit of a wobble at the top, and I think she corrected that. 10 kilo more, sometimes they'll just slow down in these speed wobbles, just with
Yeah,
gravity.
I mean, first lift nerves as well. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you've been lifting all day. The first lift of the next session is always tough. So Polina now, 137.5. She's on the board with the 130. This will give her a personal best.
Dobra, mocno cofnij brodę i szlaka na siebie. Dawaj, cofaj brodę, rozpychaj, dawaj, 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 dawaj.
It's tough, but she gets it there.
And a bit of a redemption story for Paulina.
Yeah, I mean, this will make her feel a lot better. You know, it's going to build her confidence back up for the next championship event as well. Tatiana Koroleva from Russia.
Getting herself psyched up for the job coming ahead.
Looking for 137.5.
Just shy of her previous all-time best. It's going to take a great deal more work than her opener. And you can see with her approach, much more serious.
Yeah, a lot more focused. Yeah, she had to put in the work for that one.
I think it should be good, but it
Yeah,
does
it's a
beg
good
the
lift.
question.
And you can see at the top there why she gets a little bit of a wobble going. You can see she's very forward on her feet. You know, and a lot of weight in her toes. She really needs to even that out a little bit, and that'll stop that wobble at the top.
And that's one of the dicey propositions of the sumo lift. Conventional, not so much, but sumo, wobbling at the top, if you lose any balance, even if you lock it out, if the bar went up, down, you lose it.
Hanna Rantala from Finland, 145. And today is not the day for that one.
It wasn't a drastic jump, and it is below her previous best. But no fatigue.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, you know, you start to get the energy starts to get sapped. And, you know, if you look at these battles, Alberta from France, you know, her second lift is going to put her right on schedule, right next to Connor from the US. And she's coming after her.
It might surprise Connor if she's neck and neck and has to pull for the win.
So Janine Martin from Ireland, 145. That was a good pull.
It might surprise a lot of people, actually. But that is
well, she's going to bring the fight to her, isn't she?
It is a big jump for Alibert. I'm interested in seeing how 160 kilo moves. It'll be a big tell.
We were talking before this whole event started that Heather Connor's pretty much the favourite, but we said that they weren't going to let her have it all her own way. She was going to have, if she wants it, she's going to have to fight for it.
Yeah, shots are fired.
And Simone Lay with a 147.5. And this is going to jump her up temporarily into third overall.
She's very close to a podium finish.
Yeah, well, because Rantala missed that second, this is just sort of kicked the door open a little bit. And Lay's like, well, this might be my opportunity now. Stephanie Ensol looking for 150.
It's within her means. She's lifted more previously, and it's a 5 kilo jump. But
yeah, I'm just looking at that.
Yeah, the injury.
She just looks a little tender walking out. And it didn't seem to affect her on her first lift. Let's see how it affects her as the weight goes up a little bit.
Being a conventional puller, a little more lower back dominant, less, your hips can ride a little higher. Oh, moot point now.
No, that's affecting her a little bit there. You can see she just didn't want to pull. That's tough. So it'll be interesting to see if she actually does do a third. Leslie Evangelista from the Philippines now. So this is where it starts getting tough. The energy levels are starting to get sapped a little.
10 kilo is a nice jump. Assured herself her total with her opener, and now looking to cover a little bit of ground. She's close enough, currently in 5th, that if people should start missing, she could capitalize and end up on the podium. But she has to hit this lift to keep podium hopes alive.
And it just doesn't want to shift.
And now you see when we said earlier, there's always shakeups in the deadlifts, and there's always opportunity for some and falling back for
This is
others.
where the cracks start to appear. And of course, welcome to all our viewers that are watching this on the Olympic channel. There's plenty of opportunities to watch this event.
This is a huge 22.5 kilo
And
jump.
I'll tell you what, I think there's another 22.5 in the tank.
Oh, wow, the
Look out,
Americans.
Connor. Albert's going to bring the fight to you.
The Americans are back, probably watched that, looked at themselves and said, we got to fight now.
You know what? And that was a smart lift too, because it looked so convincing. I mean, it looked like an opening lift, and the Americans are thinking, wow, how much more has she got in the tank?
I thought it'd be a grinder.
I mean, you see a lift like that sometimes, and it's a grinder, and the other coaches go, okay, well, she hasn't got much more in the tank. We're okay. But Heather Connor now, USA 172.5, so she's going to need to make this one look pretty convincing as well.
Heather Connor has found herself in a fight for the title, and she's looking to go toe-to-toe. Whoa.
Yeah, it was a good lift, and that's another one that was convincing. So
Back and forth.
it is going to be a battle out here. It is just going to come down to the wire. We said it would. We said they were going to bring the fight to her.
You know, if I'm honest, I half was leaning towards Connor being a pretty heavy favorite. Now I'm starting to think we're neck and neck.
Yeah, well, they brought the fight. So we come around for our thirds now. Aya Fukumura from Japan, 137.5. This will give her a nice little personal best. And depending on the next lifters, it might shift her up to 9th position. That extra place can make a big difference on points.
Mm-hmm.
She really takes her time. She's a very calm deadlifter.
It's a 10 kilo jump.
Boy, she's strong.
Yeah, and it's the first time. The previous 2 lifts, no struggle. Saving her energy, and I think she didn't have a single other kilo in her. Well-placed attempt selection by the Japanese coaching staff.
Polina from Poland now, 142.5. This is going to be a tough pull.
5 kilos, it's realistic.
Yeah, I think it is, but going by her last one and the day she's had, she's
Yeah.
used a lot of energy.
Still a personal best.
She's really fired up for this one, though.
Naciągnij na siebie, rozpykaj ziemię.
Be a nice way to finish. 3 from 3 in the deads, personal best.
Dawaj, naciągaj na siebie. Dawaj, naciągamy i rozpykaj ziemię. Mocno. Dawaj, dawaj, mocno, mocno. Dawaj, 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 dawaj.
And it just doesn't want to shift off the floor today. And she's just a bit upset with herself. She's had a rough day, and you know, it really takes its toll on you emotionally.
Yeah, physically, emotionally, it's a draining, exhausting process.
Tatiana Koroleva from Russia, 142.5. But you know what? She'll go back home, she'll brush herself off, and she'll be back at training and back stronger for the next one. So 142.5. This will be a nice personal best for her as well.
Yeah, 5 kilo jump from her second attempt, 2.5 kilo personal best. Obviously 5 more kilo to the total.
And just not today.
And this is where you see, you know, the failure rate for third attempt deadlifts is always rather high. And when you're jockeying for position, it's almost anybody's game. And we already seen gold, silver, and bronze are so tight.
Yeah, it's anyone's game now. I mean, you can see, I mean, Heather Connor's putting a 200 for her third. You know, more of a placeholder than anything.
For sure. She will pull only as much as she thinks she needs to win.
No, but that 200, it's a bit of both. It's a bit of a placeholder. It's also a bit of psychological warfare as well. You know, making the other team think, well, you know, how much have they got in the tank? Oh, fantastic for Hannah Rentala.
Yep.
It didn't even move off the floor on a second, and then she gets it on her third.
It's just, you know, just when you think you could count somebody out.
And, you know, I mean, it puts her back in the race as well. Anna Klish from Russia, 147.5.
It's actually forcing Lei from Canada to up her final deadlift, which they did, to try to bump Rentala off the podium, because thus far, because of that pull, Rentala is in a bronze medal position.
Back in the game again.
All of a sudden.
And there is just nothing left in the tank. She's run out of steam there. So Stephanie Ensol from Malaysia now, 150. So no luck on a second, and really just wondering if that little bit of an injury is affecting her. I mean, she's certainly walking a bit better now. Doesn't look as tender as she did before.
If Rentala can be any kind of inspiration, you know, I've been taught so many times watching these lifters, you could never count somebody out.
Yeah, when you think it's impossible, they do it. Yeah, it's just a little bit too much today. It's had a very, very big day.
So Simone, this is where we start getting into the jockeying around for the podium.
This is it now. So Simone Lay has 150. This will push her into third overall. If she misses this lift, no podium finish. But this one pushes her up into bronze.
A bronze medal at the IPF World Championships. Quite the achievement.
It's a 10 kilo personal best.
Whoa.
Moves fast, gets the lock.
Nicely done.
That should be a good lift. It is.
White lights.
So she moves into the bronze medal position with that lift.
I think they just told her. I don't think they were telling her she was pulling for bronze until after the fact. And when she found out.
I mean, sometimes it's a really good tactic not to give too much information to the athlete about where it's going to end you up. Can tend to put a little bit of pressure on them sometimes. Yeah, I mean, you've got to know your athletes. Sometimes you want to tell them because it fires them up. Janine Martin now from Ireland. She's looking for 150. This will move her into the bronze medal position on deadlift, with 3 lifters to follow her. That'd be a nice way to finish for her, though. Would be a bronze medal on the deadlift and a medal on the bench as well. She gets it moving well.
Knocks it out.
And it's there. Gets it on the board. So she is temporarily in the bronze medal with Leslie Evangelista to pull 160. Now, if she hits the 160, she'll temporarily move to silver in the deadlift. She missed this on her second. But you know what? I mean, Hannah Rentala missed hers on her second as well and nailed it on her third. So
Leslie is also a 10-year veteran.
She's got
Been
the
in this,
experience.
yeah, she's been in this position before and knows what she's got to do.
And she's got it
Oh,
moving.
whoa.
She gets it moving.
I'm going to be honest, that shocked
I
me.
think she's got it there. She
Three white
has.
lights.
She sneaks back into that bronze medal position
Talk about a comeback.
on the deadlift. Wow.
I did, if I'm honest, at the beginning I seen
I
her
didn't
back
think it
start
was
the
going to
cage.
move. Actually, that moves her into the silver medal position on the deadlift.
Yeah. Now,
So now, Albert from France, she's gone 167 and a half. And, you know, she's in the sort of unfortunate position where she doesn't get to have that last pull and manage that last pull. So she's put on 167 and a half. Coaches think, you know what, this is the top of her limit.
you want to get your lifters close to their limit and push Heather Connor to pull something uncomfortable.
And that was her limit.
That looked, yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely her limit there.
Yeah.
So the coaches picked it well. So now, Heather Connor, have they put in a change or is she going for the 200? I think they're going for the 200. No, dropped to 176, which will be a world record. So they're going to go for the world record and the gold medal at the same time.
Heather Connor wants it all.
Now, she is lighter than Albert. So even if she misses this lift, she still takes the gold medal. So there's no risk on this one.
She wants the world record. She wants the gold in dead. She wants the gold overall. Just adding to her resume with
We are
one
going
pull.
to try and take the package deal.
Yep, 3-for-1 effort. And the way 172.5 moved, I think 176
Yeah, I
should
mean
be
it's
there.
not a huge jump from 176. They've actually played a really smart card there, putting just that small amount on. The higher probability. So 176 for the world record. She has the gold medal in the pocket. Wants to gift wrap it with a world record.
Heather Connor hair flip coming. There it is. And there it is,
And
all
there's
smiles.
the gift wrapping for the gold medal.
Your 47
She
kilo world
has it.
champion.
176 kilos for the world record and the gold medal. Your world champion, Heather Connor.
Back on
Albert
top.
from France picking up the bronze, the silver medal overall. And Lay from Canada sneaks in there and gets the bronze medal on the podium there. Just sat back, waited for the opportunity, and once someone missed a lift, that was it. She came in and struck. Don't go too far away. We're coming back with the medal ceremony. And of course, there is lots more action here today.
please. 1, 2,